There we go. Thanks for letting me know, guys. I apologize about that. My mic was muted. But you guys should be able to hear me now. Let me know in the chat, guys. But usually I would start off angry and ranty and bitchy, Usually I would just be going ham. But I'm not mad because no matter what, no matter how bad Raw is, no matter how low the rating's going to be, right? It's going to be on 1.6, 1.5. I'm going to go to bed tonight knowing that the best female wrestler in the world is the Raw Women's, or not the Raw, the SmackDown Women's Champion. I told you guys on the Hell in a Cell review last night that no matter how bad Raw was going to be, I was going to smile my way through it. And, I'm not going to go as hard as I usually would because I am in such a good mood. Yesterday was such a fantastic day. Like I said, I won both my fantasy football games. The Bucks destroyed the Raiders, seeing Tom Brady go ham, right? Even though my Pats lost, but still, it is what it is. And then the end of the day with Sasha Banks and Bayley putting on, in my opinion, the match of the year so far, and Sasha finally being SmackDown Women's Champion, there's like nothing that can ruin my mood. But either way, we still have to review Raw. We still have to review this garbage. Right? Sasha can't save Raw for how bad it is. She can't. And we still have to review this show tonight, and I'll do my best like I usually do. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. Survivor Series, I am not excited for it at all. All right? Last year, Survivor Series was so exciting because you had the added element of NXT. Right now, who we don't know. We don't know the full card, even though they did announce most of the matches tonight. They announced that we're going to have a 5v5 women's match, which we'll talk about. I am not happy about that at all. And you guys are going to hear me say something about the women's division and Monday Night Raw's women's division specifically that is going to shock you guys. Right? If you guys follow me on Twitter, you guys already know what I'm going to say. But for those of you guys that don't, I'm going to say something very shocking about the Raw women's division. All right? But also, it was announced that we'll get the Street Profits versus the New Day, which I'm actually excited about. That can steal the show, honestly. All right? And we're getting Sasha Banks versus Asuka. No surprise there. But Sasha and Asuka, every time they've been in the ring together, they've given us at least a 4-star classic. Right? So, I expect the Survivor Series, especially now Sasha and Asuka are both baby faces. Right? I expect them to absolutely bring the house down. And we might see their best match at Survivor Series. And I expect Sasha to win because it makes sense. But that's what we're getting, all right? We also have Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns. And, that could be a good match, but still, man, just the idea of having Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre, I kind of wish we were getting that because Reigns versus McIntyre, especially with how hot both of those men are right now, especially Roman, that has the chance to be main event of the year. But since we're not getting that, it's kind of disappointing. But, that's that. And we also have qualifying matches, which was the big thing on tonight's show. Qualifying matches to determine who was going to be on the men's Survivor Series team for Raw. I'm just not going to lie, though. Survivor Series is usually one of my favorite pay-per-views every year, and I'm not that excited at the moment. Not having NXT involved, I don't know why. I know NXT is having Halloween Havoc on Wednesday, with Shotzi Blackheart as the host, and they're having all these big matches, but still, I'm going to be honest, I feel like they could do better. NXT should be involved in the Survivor Series build. Right? Why? You decided to do NXT versus Raw versus SmackDown for 1 year only, right? To build up NXT and then not do it again? Why? This would be the best time to have NXT back in the fold between Raw and SmackDown. It would bring added viewers to NXT who needs it because they're getting their asses whipped by AEW in the Wednesday Night Wars every single week, right? And it would be helpful for some of those characters on that show. Right now, I gotta be honest, I'm not that excited for Survivor Series. I'm not. But either way, we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about all that on the podcast tonight. Before we get to anything, right, for all the new subscribers, I know we have a lot of new subscribers. Over this weekend, we have gained over 150 subs, which I think is a record for a 3-day span on the channel. We've never gained this many subscribers in a weekend. I knew that this weekend was going to be big for the podcast and the channel because of Sasha and Bayley, but the support you guys have been showing, absolutely crazy. All the viewers we had on the Hell in a Cell watch along, all the viewers we had for the Hell in a Cell review, breaking records, man, for the channel. And the support you guys have been showing has been absolutely amazing. So I got to say thank you guys for that. And I know we have some new subscribers here for the stream tonight. And I hope you guys enjoy. We are getting back to business. Last night's stream was wacky and we had fun. We celebrated Sasha finally becoming champion. Now we're back to business, you know, because WWE doesn't stop. As bad as the shows are, you know, wrestling is 365. And, you know, there is no pause. There's no breaks. They got to keep going. So, you know, we're back to business, back to covering Raw, which is clearly the worst of the two shows. SmackDown is so much better than Raw. But either way, we are going to cover it and talk about that all on the channel today. So thank you guys for everything. But either way, we're going to get into it. And I want to start with the main event. That was the biggest thing tonight with Randy Orton, The Fiend, and Randy being on a moment of bliss. And then Drew McIntyre. So I want to start with that. I usually don't start with the main event, but I want to get it out of the way because I don't want this to be a long review. Honestly, there's not much that happened. I'm not ranting tonight, of course, because I'm still happy about Sasha winning, and I expect Sasha to have a very good and lengthy title reign. But we'll talk about that later this week. I plan on making a video talking about how to book Sasha as champion. We'll be talking about Bayley. We'll talk about some other things. So I'll have a bonus podcast probably Wednesday, maybe Thursday, but most likely Wednesday as of right now, all right? I also, for those who missed the Hell in a Cell live reaction, I trimmed out already the Sasha versus Bayley reaction, which was one of my best reactions ever. So I will be posting that as a separate video for those of you guys who didn't get to watch the live reaction, so you guys could see that, because definitely it was amazing. But let's talk about a moment of bliss. I want to start off talking about the main event. So basically, they teased all night on a moment of bliss earlier, or not. The Firefly Funhouse earlier today, they did like a little tea party, and like I said, I love what they're doing with Alexa Bliss and the Fiend. This is the perfect character, and to see how Alexa has accepted that role and accepted that gimmick, I gotta give her credit. You guys know I'm not the biggest Alexa Bliss fan, but what she's doing right now is absolutely amazing work. I love it. We'll see how long it's able to continue, but her and The Fiend are just like a match made in heaven. They work perfectly with one another. We already know Alexa has that Harley Quinn look to her, and she's really adapting that here. So I love what they're doing. So Wyatt and Bliss, they hosted, you know, the Firefly Funhouse, and, you know, Bliss, you know, she comes in, they had a tea party. Bliss had this special tea that had like a secret ingredient that made Ribbity Rabbit go crazy, right? All right. So that made like, and then, you know, Rabbit kind of felt unconscious. So of course they were, you know, having a good time, and the Fiend, or not the Fiend, Bray was very hyped and excited to see what would happen between Randy and Alexa on a moment of bliss, right? And you know, then Ribbity Rabbit started to wake up, and then they knocked him down with the hammer. And Bray Wyatt said the Fiend will also be watching as well. And I completely forgot, I'm going to be honest, I completely forgot the history between Randy Orton and the Fiend. If you guys remember back in 2017, those two had a really good rivalry. But the thing about it is, you know, we thought the rivalry was going to be used to put Bray Wyatt over because everybody wanted him to be WWE champion, but instead they had that very weird match at WrestleMania, and Randy Orton actually won the WWE championship. He was a babyface at the time. And then they had the, I think it was the House of Horrors match. I think that's what it's called. You know, Raw is a House of Horrors every single week, so damn, don't blame me if you see me forgetting that match. But I believe it was a House of Horrors match, something like that. But I completely forgot about that going in. So Charlie Caruso kept asking Randy if, you know, he was afraid that the Fiend would show up on the moment of bliss. But Randy kept saying, no, I'm not scared of the Fiend. So if he wants to show his face, I'll introduce him to the 3 most dangerous letters in all sports entertainment, the RKO. So basically, like I said, I love what Alexa's doing. Alexa was sitting in the ring. She was wearing this weird, crazy outfit, really adapting that Harley Quinn look. So Randy, was standing in the ring. Alexa wanted him to sit down, but Randy said, "I'd rather stand." I gotta say, even though I'm a little bit disappointed that Drew McIntyre's WWE Championship run is over, that title fits Randy so well. Like, that title looks perfect on Randy's shoulder. It looks perfect on him. I'm not gonna lie. It almost looks like it's meant to him. When people say that if they were to make a prototype of a WWE superstar, then that it would be Randy Orton, they're not lying. They're not lying, man. That guy looks made for greatness, and that championship looks perfect on him. So basically, she asked him some basic questions, but he did not want to let his guard down because he knew the Fiend was lurking nearby. He asked her point blank if she had any surprises planned for him, and Alexis said, "What do you mean? I don't have no surprises." But Alexa did say, "I really enjoyed how you and Drew burnt the house down." This was clearly a reference to when Randy Orton burnt Sister Abigail down back in 2017 when he burnt the White Compound. So then Orton asked where the Fiend was, and she just started smiling manically, like a maniac, and then Drew McIntyre's music hit. So McIntyre ran to the ring and started to brawl. I didn't like this because the whole point of Hell in a Cell is meant to be the end feuds, the end rivalries. It's supposed to be the end all be all. And yes, I understand Drew is one of your top baby faces, and you want him, because I do believe Drew will eventually be WWE Champion again, probably sometime next year. Drew deserves to have his big moment in front of a live crowd. For now, you can have him do some other things to keep him busy, right? But Drew, definitely, he's a top baby face, and he's proven that. And definitely, I love what they've done with him this year for the most part. He's one of WWE's MVPs. But it was a little bit of a disappointing end to his WWE Championship, and I do believe he will get that big moment. I didn't mention this on the Hell in a Cell review because it just slipped my mind, but Drew deserves to have a big moment in front of a live crowd, and hopefully he'll get that if, God willing, we can get back to some kind of normalcy next year with live crowds, right, in stadiums. But still, I understand why, Drew kept saying, "I'm going to keep kicking your ass until I get back my WWE title." I understand that. But still, Hell in a Cell is meant to end rivalries. I don't want to see these two brawling. I don't want to see these two interacting. We've seen these two going at it since early August. Back in August. It's been over 3 months now that we've seen these two brawling and feuding. It's time to end it. It's time to end it, right? I understand Drew wants to get back the title, but keep these two separate for now. Eventually, Drew will be back in the WWE title picture, and I do believe he'll eventually be world champion again. He's that good. But for right now, it's time to keep him away from the title picture. That's my opinion. So, also look at some other things. The Fiend's music then started playing as Randy tried to escape. And you guys got to remember, the Fiend is a babyface, right? WWE they reported a couple months ago that he was turned babyface. I know his booking can be confusing. And I love how during this whole thing, Alexa was just laughing like crazy on top of on the top rope. I love that. But, Orton stood there, and he knew that the Fiend was behind him, and he didn't make any movements. So basically, Randy made the smart move and started walking back towards the ring because he knew that the Fiend was behind him and Drew was in front of him. So Orton, being the heel, can't run away in this situation with two baby faces in front of him. So then we see Randy walks toward the ring, and he realizes, all right, I'm not going to get out of this, so I got to fight. So he just starts brawling with Drew McIntyre again, and that's how the show ended, right? So whatever. The Fiend never made any movements, but it seems like we are getting a Randy Orton and the Fiend feud. And I'm not saying I'm not excited for it. I'm not excited for any matches between the two, because honestly, I don't see Randy losing that WWE title, at least as of now. Because I think at WrestleMania, you have two options. Either you do Keith Lee versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship, or you do the more the more likely option is having Edge come back and win the Royal Rumble, and Edge facing Orton at WrestleMania, unless they have Big E or Keith Lee win. I think those are your three favorites right now: Randy Orton, Keith Lee, and Big E. One of those three men is going to win the Royal Rumble. It'll be one of them. But that's the most likely scenario. I don't want to see a Wyatt versus Orton rivalry because I don't see the Fiend winning the title. I like the Fiend. I don't like the way he's been booked, but I actually like the character, and I love what they're doing with him and Alexa. It would not be right to do the feud if you're not going to give the Fiend the title. And I don't see them giving him the title right now. Yes, there is a story there. I'm not excited for matches between the two because we've seen the Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton in the past, and they haven't done anything special. But there is a story there because we've seen how since the Fiend was born, he's gone after people that have done him wrong in the past, like Daniel Bryan, like John Cena, and things like that. And there's a story there. They made reference to it when Alexa kept talking about burning the house down, but still, man, I don't want to see that right now. I understand Fiend's one of your top baby faces, but there's other things you could do with him. Right now, this is not the right time to do the Fiend versus Randy Orton. Not right now. All right, because you're not going to give the Fiend the title, and I don't want to see the Fiend hurt and damaged more than you already have. So that's what I would do. And like I said, I've already talked about Drew. He really shouldn't be in the title picture as of right now. In terms of Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns, yes, this should be a good match if that we get a Survivor Series, which we probably will. But I'm not that excited for it. We've seen Randy Orton and Roman Reigns in the past. And another thing is, they're both heels. And I'll mention this again later on in the podcast. Randy Orton and Roman Reigns are both heel. They're both heel. Roman's the tribal chief. Orton's the legend killer. Who am I supposed to vote for in this situation? Who's going to win? Roman can't lose, right? He's the tribal chief. He's on the probably the best run of his career right now. Randy Orton can't lose, though. He just became WWE champion. So I don't know. That's why I'm saying, I kind of wish we were getting Drew versus Roman. Imagine that. But, still, we'll just have to wait and see. But that's my thoughts right now. I'm not that excited for a Randy versus Roman match. And I'm not that excited for a Randy versus the Fiend rivalry, because we've already seen that. The story's there, but I'm not excited for in terms of a match, and I don't want to see the Fiend get hurt, because I don't see the Fiend taking that title from Randy. So that's my thoughts on that. Let me know what you guys think in the chat and in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys think. JD says, I'm probably the only person who doesn't care for the Fiend and Alexa. I love Alexa, though. Just don't. Hey, man, it's your opinion. I mean, I don't blame you. I've said some really harsh stuff about Alexa in the past. It's not because I don't like Alexa, but, it's just that I didn't like the way she was booked over people like Sasha Banks and Bayley in the past. But the thing about it is what they're doing right now with Alexa is perfect. Perfect. This is the best she's ever been in her career. I'm not saying you make Alexa champion or anything like that. Maybe you could do like a unique story with Alexa and Asuka, but still. And with the way the Raw Women's Division looks after tonight, they need something. So we just talked about the main event. I wanted to get that out of the way. Let's get to the opening segment. So Drew McIntyre came out to start the show to talk about losing to Randy Orton at Sunday. And it was reported that this was a last-minute change. WWE was debating very hard because originally it was planned for Drew to win, but they decided to make the Randy Orton switch at the last moment. So, basically, Drew started, paraphrasing quotes from Rocky, and I'm just like, sometimes I feel like WWE tries too hard to script Drew McIntyre. You guys know I have become a big Drew McIntyre guy in the last year, but sometimes, man, just let the guy be him. Stop having him come out and give these ridiculous quotes. Just let the guy be him. When they try too hard to force Drew McIntyre, it comes off bad. It's not Drew McIntyre's fault. It's Bruce Pritchard. Excuse me. It's Bruce Pritchard. It's the people writing this show. Use your common sense. Use your common sense, guys. But, Either way, he took responsibility for losing, but he also said that even though he lost the WWE title, he was still in a good mood because now he had just gained that drive to do whatever it took to get the title back. And like I said, I do believe Drew will be world champion again sometime next year. He's too big a star not to. He's become one of the WWE's biggest stars in the coming year. And definitely, he will eventually get his moment in front of fans. I definitely believe that. So, The Miz's music hit, and he came out with John Morrison to gloat about winning the Money in the Bank briefcase from Otis, right? Which I still believe, personally, was a bad decision. Speaking of Otis, really quick, the Otis and Miz storyline looks to be finished, which is sad because, like I said, if you were never going to treat Otis seriously with the Money in the Bank briefcase, I said this on the Hell in a Cell review, you should have never given him the briefcase to begin with. It's sad, you know, how Otis has been done dirty these last couple months. For real. For somebody that, you know, I keep hearing reports that WWE has promise and so much hype in him, man, like, they've done him dirty. They moved his girlfriend to Raw, then they moved Tucker to Raw, then they had Tucker turn his back on him, and then they had him lose the Money in the Bank briefcase. And speaking of Tucker, I don't know if you guys didn't know this, but it was reported by Ringside News that WWE quietly moved Tucker over to SmackDown. So I said this on the Hell in a Cell review. They're gonna do something wacky to get Tucker back to SmackDown. I originally thought this was gonna be Tucker getting back to SmackDown to put him and Otis back together as Heavy Machinery because they had so much potential as a tag team. But no, we're not getting that. We're getting Otis versus Tucker in a singles feud. And I said this last week. In a time where WWE needs tag teams, right? They keep breaking tag teams up. Every week now, it seems like once a month we see another tag team broken up. Absolutely ridiculous. Makes 0 sense in my opinion. 0 sense. You should be merging the tag team divisions, right? And having one set of titles. But instead, no, you break up tag teams at every glance, and you refuse to acknowledge the terrible booking you keep doing, because now you have 3 teams on each show fighting for tag team titles. It's terrible, and it makes 0 sense at the end of the day. But the thing is, WWE will never admit that to you. They'll never admit it. So we're getting a Tucker versus Otis feud. Tucker being moved to SmackDown, right? We won't get an explanation why. They won't tell us who's been traded, probably, because why would they? WWE doesn't care. I just hate when they don't use logic. I hate when they don't use logic in these situations. But, and NBA YouTube, you say they should give McIntyre the briefcase. Honestly, I disagree with that. They don't need to do that. Drew's a big enough star where he doesn't need the briefcase. Like, kind of like John Cena. John Cena never needed the Money to bring briefcase. I don't really understand why they ever did give him that briefcase. There's some stars that don't need it. They can get titles and win them without having to win Money to Break ladder matches. And I think Drew's at that level now where he doesn't need a gimmick like the Money to Break briefcase. But anyway, The Miz came out, and like I said, I don't agree with Miz being Mr. Money in the Bank. I'm not excited for it. I do think, I already read a stat. It was November 22nd, 2010, when The Miz won the WWE Championship when he cashed in on Randy Orton, his only WWE Championship. So maybe a month from now, we could see The Miz become Mr. WWE Champion once again. Will it happen? I don't think so right now. I honestly don't think Miz will cash in. I think Randy's holding that title till WrestleMania when he drops it to Edge. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe they wait till Edge is champion and then have Miz cash in on Edge. Never know. But The Miz and Morrison, they kept gloating, making jokes. McIntyre told him to be careful with what they were saying because he was not in the best mood and he would drop them where they stood. They said his title reign was impressive, but like everything, it had to come to an end. Then The Miz talked about how he beat Orton for the WWE title 10 years ago and how he would do it again. McIntyre grew tired of their antics and nailed Miz with a headbutt. So he attacked the duo, all right, sent both of them flying and running. So then McIntyre said he would speak to management and make sure Miz and Morrison had a bad night. Clearly, this would mean that we would get some kind of match. I thought it was going to be a handicap match with McIntyre versus Miz Morrison, but instead we got McIntyre versus Miz and Morrison in his corner. So let's just talk about that match really quickly, get that out of the way. Basically, the whole thing of this match was the fact that McIntyre was nowhere near 100%. I read a report that the reason why McIntyre did the spot where he fell off the cell, which, like I said on the review, that he needs to stop doing that spot because they do that spot every single year. Every single year. It is not special. But I did read that McIntyre did do that spot because he wanted to pay tribute to the or not to the late, to what Shawn Michaels and Undertaker did. So I got to give credit where credit is due to McIntyre for that spot. But still, man, WWE has to stop doing that spot. It's the same spot every single year. And it's nothing special. It's nothing special. But still, McIntyre was some of the effects of Hell in a Cell. His leg was not 100%, and his whole body was aching. And Miz would attack that throughout the match. But either way, I'm trying to do this quick check-in at work just to make sure everything's all right. But still, McIntyre would recover, though, and he would eventually hit Miz with a claimer out of nowhere, and, McIntyre gets the victory. It doesn't do any damage to the Miz, not that I really care, because you guys know I don't really give a crap about the Miz. But you guys know I don't really give a crap about the Miz anyway. But it doesn't matter. Miz is Mr. Money in the Bank, so he doesn't lose anything at the end of the day. But still, who cares? Who cares, right? McIntyre gets the win, and that's that. But like I said, my prediction is that McIntyre, not McIntyre, but Miz, I don't see Miz cashing on Randy Orton. I think they're going to wait until Edge wins the title at WrestleMania and then have Miz cash in on Edge then. Who knows? Maybe they'll have Miz cash in at WrestleMania, right? Pull Seth Rollins. That would be something. But still, that's what I think is going to happen with Orton and Edge. I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to wait till Edge becomes champion and then have Miz cash in on Edge, not Orton, right? And plus, Miz is a heel. They can have him wait forever. Because I remember back in 2011, Miz waited. I think Miz had the briefcase for a good 6 months before he cashed in. So, hey, even though I'll say this, Miz does not deserve Mr. Money in the Bank. I hate how they did this to Otis, but it is what it is. So, next up, we had Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles. This was our first qualifying match for Survivor Series. So, basically, Styles and his bodyguard came to the ring, and he gave a quick promo saying, and this is the classic heel thing, they do this almost every year. They have the heel come out and say, oh, why do I have to qualify to be on the Survivor Series team? I should be on it just because how good I am. That's what Styles said, even though it's kind of true because it is AJ Styles and he is phenomenal and one of the best in the world. It's whatever. Still, I'm not really a big fan of this whole bodyguard storyline. You guys, I said this last week. I hate the way WWE tries pushing big men because they're terrible at it. Vince always getting addicted with these big men, and they turn out to be nothing 80% of the time. All right, but anyway, we got the match here. It wasn't a bad match. It's AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy. It's going to be hard to have a bad match between these two. The story here is that Hardy was thrown off his game because he kept having to deal with the bodyguard. There was a point where Hardy flew off the top rope, trying to land on Styles at ringside, but he actually got caught by the bodyguard who intercepted him in midair. So AJ Styles, he dominated the second part of this match, hit a brain buster for a 2 count. Jeff Hardy had a comeback. Styles put him in a torture rack, spun him around for a power bomb. Hardy hit a suplex facebuster, and then he tried to climb the rope, but he hesitated because he was afraid that the bodyguard would get in the way again. So that moment of hesitation allowed Styles to recover. Styles knocked him back into the ring, nailed him with a phenomenal forearm for the pin. So Styles is the first one to qualify for the Men's Survivor Series team. All right, I do believe Drew McIntyre will be on that team as well. It's been reported that WWE does plan to make him the captain. So that will be interesting going forward. After the match, we also saw Elias smash the guitar over Hardy's back. Smash the guitar over his back. He saw this as payback for Hardy doing the same thing on him last night at Hell in a Cell. Like I said, I don't care about this Hardy and Elias feud. It's more this filler. They're not doing anything. You know, like this is already the third time we've seen them hit each other in the back with guitars. Seems like every week it's the same thing. Nothing special. Nothing special here. So I just didn't really care about that. It's a whatever. Styles does qualify for the men's Survivor Series team. Whew, man, something else, another bad thing, and we are just speeding through this show, man. It's like, gosh, I could be finished with this review in 15 minutes. This might be a very short Raw review. I try not to go over an hour, but at this rate, we might, I don't even know if we'll go 45 minutes. Next up, we had Lucha House Party versus Drew Gulak and Akira Tozawa. Right? R-Truth cut a promo beforehand, talking about how his successful title defense against Gulak at Hell in a Cell. Not that anybody cares. If you guys think about it, they've been doing this R-Truth 24/7 title storyline for almost a year and a half. It was a little bit. When did Mick Foley introduce the title? I think it was fall last year, like early fall. It was like right around last year's draft. And then they had Truth keep winning the title back and forth. And here we are a year later, and Truth is still in the same ridiculous gimmick, doing the same shit every single week. I don't know who finds this funny. I think R-Truth is good, but man, it's the same shit every week, bro. There's nothing special. Nothing exciting here. Nothing at all. So I'm just like, really? Really, man? Like, the 24/7 title shouldn't even have been defended at Hell in a Cell. I don't even care if it was on the kickoff show. I would have took almost anything else other than that. But either way, they had Gulak and Tozawa team up to take on Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik, right? I don't know why Grand Metalik, and Lince Dorado are not having more serious tag team feuds. You could build up the Lucha House Party to have a feud with the New Day. I believe they had a couple of really good matches earlier on in the year, like very early when the pandemic first started. Give us something with that, because the New Day really don't have any competition right now. I don't think I've seen the New Day face any teams on Monday Night Raw since they got drafted. There's like nobody in that division. Absolutely crazy. So, basically there was nothing special with this match. It was very, very bad. R-Truth came down looking for Lil Jimmy at ringside. I don't know why. All right, I hate when they do this Lil Jimmy nonsense. Plus, Truth was there scouting his competition. So basically, everyone was puzzled on why Truth was out there. And then everyone just completely forgot that there was a tag team match supposed to be going on. And, everyone just kept trying to pin him, right? Truth was able to escape. The ref, being a dumbass, did not call for a DQ, right? But it was whatever. So Dorado was able to pin Gulak with a crossbody and to get the win. And Truth was able to escape. And that was it. I think the 24/7 title should be burnt. It's not funny anymore. It's not even entertaining. As good as R-Truth is, man, it's just the same shit every single week. It's such a waste of time. Such a waste of time, man. And I absolutely hate it. I hate the fact that I have to spend 2 minutes talking about it on the podcast. So bad. So bad. And let me know, guys. I think the smile is slowly going away from my face. I don't know. Just because the more I talk about the show, the more frustrated I'm getting. But then we had our second Money in the Bank qualifying match in the second hour. We had Elias versus Keith Lee. Keith Lee, before the match, he was interviewed by Charlie Caruso. He was still very mad and fuming because of the disqualification last week with Braun Strowman when Strowman low-blowed him. And Keith Lee said that he promised that next time him and Strowman met in the ring, it was going to be a different story, and he would show him who the true monster is. Strowman was not on the show tonight. Don't know why, don't care. But, yeah, it looks like they're getting a little bit of a pause on the Strowman and Keith Lee feud. Another thing, man. Keith Lee, man, I'm not going to complain about his music anymore because Keith Lee is getting new theme music. He didn't debut tonight, but I do follow Keith Lee on social media, and he was in New York recording new vocals for his new theme. So, amen to that. So, I do want to see Keith Lee start getting pushed more into the main event scene. He is that damn good. I do think he'll be there eventually. If it's not, like I said, if it's not Randy Orton versus Edge for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, I do believe it will be Keith Lee versus Orton or something like that. Keith Lee deserves to be somewhere around there. Hey, man, in the meantime, give me a Keith Lee versus Bobby Lashley feud. That just struck my mind. Imagine something like that. Two heavy hitters. Fuck Braun Strowman and Keith Lee. Keith Lee versus Bobby Lashley feuding over the IC title. Remember, back in NXT, Keith Lee was a North American champion before he became NXT champion. You should do the same thing here, right? I don't know if you want to say that for WrestleMania for early 2021, but a Keith Lee versus Bobby Lashley feud, sign me up. Sign me up. That's something I can get behind. Or if, Keith Lee is not going to be in a championship match, hey, man, do Keith Lee versus Brock Lesnar. I just gave you scenarios on how to book Keith Lee till you're ready to have him go after the WWE title. Have him go up against Bobby Lashley for the IC title. Have him face Lesnar at WrestleMania. And I'm thinking maybe SummerSlam next year. SummerSlam, we have Keith Lee win the WWE Championship. That's what I would do with Keith Lee going forward. Either way, Elias was in the ring. He gave a promo and did his normal guitar stick. The same boring stuff he's been doing these last couple of years. He talked about his new album that dropped today, which is actually #1 on iTunes for the soundtrack section. So congratulations to Elias. Elias actually, his music is not bad. It's not anything special. It's more country. It's a more country feel to it. But hey, go listen to it. Universal Truth out wherever you guys get your music. But Elias came out. He said that he was done with Jeff Hardy and was planning to move on to bigger and better things. And he planned on doing that by beating Keith Lee and qualifying for the Men's Survivor Series team. Yeah, right. I told you guys how, Elias is supposed to be getting this big push on Raw. And I guess I'm seeing it a little bit, right? There was no way Elias was going to beat Keith Lee. If they had done that, I would have came over here and ripped this show. Like, I don't care if I'm smiling because I'm happy that Sauce is champion. But I would have ripped the show if they had done something like that. But clearly they didn't. The match wasn't, anything special. It was an okay TV match. We know how good Keith Lee is, but I've been saying this for years. Elias is not special in the ring. As he's not. So, like, Keith Lee, as good as he is, it's going to be hard to have a good match with someone like Elias. He's just, he's bland. He's average. Elias is like, the best way to, describe Elias' in-ring ability is he's like The Miz. Miz does nothing special. Elias and Miz, they both know how to wrestle, but they don't do anything that's going to grab your attention. Their offense is extremely boring. Extremely. Right? But either way, the match went back and forth. Near the end here, Elias, looking like a dumbass, was on the top rope. He was on the top rope, and Jeff Hardy's music played. Hardy getting some payback for earlier. Elias looking at the stage for like 30 seconds, thinking that Hardy was going to come out. Should have just kept going on the offensive and attacking Keith Lee. But this distraction led to Lee hitting the Spirit Bomb for the win and to qualify the Raw Survivor Series team. So Lee will be on the team. I'm excited for that. So Keith Lee, AJ Styles, Matt Riddle did qualify as well. So we'll talk about that. And or was it? I don't know. I forget. I'm already forgetting. Was it Sheamus or Matt Riddle? Oh, it was Sheamus. We'll talk about that in a sec. But either way, Sheamus, Keith Lee, McIntyre will probably be on the team in the next couple weeks. And what's his name? AJ Styles. So Raw Survivor Series team is actually looking pretty solid. Pretty solid. And who will fill up that last spot? Probably Braun Strowman, if I'm willing to bet. Maybe they'll do like a last chance thing and have Matt Riddle get the spot, but it'll probably be Braun Strowman. But we'll see how they decide that next week. But Hardy then did appear, and he hit Elias with a guitar. So earlier in the night, we saw Elias hit Hardy with a guitar. Hardy hit a guitar on Elias at Hell in a Cell, and he did it again tonight. Stupidity. Who the fuck cares? Who the fuck cares? Like I said, I don't care about this feud, and I know you guys don't either. Absolutely a waste of our time, guys. Waste of our time. Uh, Next up, we had the Hurt Business, and this pissed me off. You guys remember a couple of months ago, WWE was planning on having a big match for Retribution at Survivor Series. Hey, and it was most likely going to be the Hurt Business. You guys know I've enjoyed a lot how the Hurt Business have been booked. They've been one of the best things about WWE since the pandemic started. But, the Hurt Business versus Retribution elimination match, I don't care. I don't care. You have done everything to bury Retribution and make me not care about them. And that would continue in this match. I don't know why. WWE actually gave Retribution a new theme song, and I actually like it. I actually like it. It's not that bad. But, either way, that doesn't, take away from the fact that Retribution is buried, and there's no reason to care for them on WWE TV. No reason for any of us to care about them. So MVP and Bobby Lashley came out and gave a promo saying they requested this match from management in an effort to rid WWE of Retribution. And as payment, Shelton Benjamin said that they wanted to be paid in gold. Like I said, I don't know if you're trying to make Hurt Business baby faces. They're clearly heels. But it seems like there's times where they're baby faces when they go up against Retribution. And then backstage they're bullying employees and they're heels. I don't know what's the message here. Stop trying to, start intelligent and make the Hurt Business look like heels at one point and make them look at baby faces at another. Stop with that bullshit. So, basically, Lashley and T-Bar started for their teams. That's some physical stuff here. So then, MVP tagged himself in, and then Slapjack came in as well. So then, Reckoning, a.k.a. Mia Yim, right? Mia Yim pretended to be possessed. She kept saying, get it off me, get it off me. And then she started rolling around the ring like an idiot, right? And there was actually people, you could hear, there was people saying, Mia, Mia. They weren't calling her Reckoning. They were actually calling her Mia. So, nice job there. Nice job, WWE. You're so inconsistent. You can't even have Mia stick by her. Terrible, by the way, but you can't even have her stay by her Retribution name. You actually had to review her NXT name, but even though everyone knew it's Mia Yim, but still. But JD said something funny on Twitter. He said that this is Mia Yim realizing that she still has 2 years left on her Raw contract. Facts. Facts. I actually wanted to see Mia Yim go up against some of the competitors in the Raw Women's division. Like Asuka, like Alexa Bliss, like Naomi. There's some good matches for her in there, but instead they just have her in this Retribution story, and it's just garbage. I feel so bad for Mia Yim. So bad. But still, she pretended to be possessed. This distraction led to Slapjack eliminated MVP. The ref booted her from ringside during the break because of this interference. So then Lashley eliminated Slapjack with a devastating spear when we returned for commercial. Then we saw him and T-Bar fight outside the ring, and of course, this led to a double countout to even the odds. Then we see Ali is by himself after Mace got eliminated by, I believe, a double team by Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. So here I'm like, okay, Ali, leader of Retribution, here's your chance, right? Here's your chance to they actually make a star. Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin. If they lose here, it's whatever. They'll be fine. The Hurt Business is fine, right? Here, this is more about Ali. This is what you should have done. You should have had Ali beat both Alexander and Shelton Benjamin 2-on-1, and then that would have made him look like a bigger leader and a bigger star at the end of the day. We all want Ali to succeed. Instead, what you do is you have Ali brawl with Cedric Alexander for a bit. They start fighting on the outside, and you have Ali grab a chair. He grabs a steel chair, and he bashes Alexander with it, warning the disqualification, right? So after that, he runs away when the rest of the Hurt Business comes out. So, wow, you're making Ali look like a pussy. I said this last night. Ali has a baby face. He didn't care who it was. He had heart. He had grit. He had determination. It didn't matter. He wasn't running from any fight, no matter what. But now here we are, and you have him running away like a little bitch. You have him running away like a little bitch. every single week. And you're proud of it. You're proud of it, WWE. Makes me sick. Once again, Retribution is buried. It's better. Disband the group. Send them down to back to NXT. Give them a chance to actually have some sort of career. Because Retribution is doing nothing. I feel the most bad for Ali, Mia Yim, and Dijakovic. Because they actually had even more Mia Yim and Dijakovic. They were being used in NXT. And now their career is being killed. Killed. Every single week that Retribution continues. WWE clearly has no plans to do anything with them. No plans. And it's sad. What was the point of the group? You brought the group up to try to get ratings, which failed in your face. And now here you are all these months later, and you still have no direction for the group, and you make them look worse each and every single week. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself. I don't care what anybody says, man. This was terrible. This was terrible. Next up, we had Matt Riddle versus Sheamus. Matt Riddle versus Sheamus. Oh, I forgot to say, Ali cut another great promo in the third hour of Raw. Another great promo. Won't mean shit. I better not see at Survivor Series them do another match between the Hurt Business and Retribution. No. The matches on television are not good. And they've done nothing to warrant any match at Survivor Series. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. And before I talk about Matt Riddle and Sheamus, I just want to say this, right? What's the stakes for Survivor Series? Honestly, Survivor Series used to be one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. But what's the point? You spent all year, right, since the pandemic, having superstars show up on every brand via that whole stupid brand-to-brand invitational garbage rule, right? We've seen superstars go on each brand without any regardless, right? It's like the brands aren't even exclusive. You keep talking about a draft and making exclusive rosters, but yeah, we see the Riot Squad on Raw one week. We see Otis come in the Raw dressed as Al Gordo or whatever you want to call him, right? You have all this bullshit going on, and you're trying to market Survivor Series as, oh, the one time a year when Raw and SmackDown face off against one another, when they've been doing that this entire pandemic? Let's make some sense here. Don't insult my fucking intelligence. Don't insult my intelligence here. There should be stakes here for Survivor Series. All right? If you win your match, like say you're in the women's 5-on-5 or the men's 5v5, if you win your match, you get title shots. Or if you win your match, you automatically draw your, better odds of appearing in the Royal Rumble in a couple months at a later spot. Things like that. Or something, more opportunities. There should be some stakes here for Survivor Series. Really. No more of this garbage. Like, Survivor Series really doesn't mean anything. Really. It feels like a lazy marketing excuse. Survivor Series should have high stakes, title matches, Royal Rumble, things like that. I don't know, man, but think about this. Let me know what you guys think. I really wish WWE put more thought into this. I really wish they would. Hate this. Anyway, we had Matt Riddle versus Sheamus. Matt Riddle versus Sheamus here. I thought Sheamus would get the victory. Or no, not Sheamus. I thought Matt Riddle would get the victory. It would be a big opportunity. We keep hearing all this stuff about how WWE wants to push Matt Riddle as one of the top guys and how Vince loves him. I hate when WWE, and I hate when people say Vince loves a guy. Because he clearly doesn't. Matt Riddle and Sheamus had a really good match. This was really good. Really good TV match. People forget how good of a technical wrestler Sheamus actually is. And Matt Riddle, just go watch his NXT matches. The guy's great. This was a really good match, and I thought Matt Riddle would get the win here. But instead, Sheamus wins with a bro kick. All right? And it doesn't really make Matt Riddle buried or anything like that, but Matt Riddle should have won this match. I like Sheamus, but he doesn't need to be there. Really. This should have been a moment made for Matt Riddle to get a chance to shine, to elevate him as one of the more popular baby faces on Raw. It was a really good match, but they got the decision wrong. Maybe Matt Riddle ends up on the team eventually, right? There still is one more spot, or there's 2 spots left even though we know one of those spots will be saved for Drew McIntyre. But either way, I would have had Matt Riddle win this match, to be honest. To be honest. Just saying. Trying to think. So, Styles, McIntyre, Keith Lee, Sheamus, and AJ Styles. That's a solid Survivor Series team. Solid. All right. No, I said it wrong, right? Hold on. I'm getting my words mixed up. So Styles. So it'll be AJ Styles. It'll be Keith Lee. AJ Styles, Keith Lee, Sheamus, right? Probably Drew McIntyre, and maybe either Braun Strowman or Matt Riddle. I think we'll see something like that. That will probably be the Survivor Series men's team. But this is a solid team, I'm not going to lie. Solid team. You have Keith Lee and McIntyre as the baby faces. You have Sheamus and Styles as the heels. And we'll see if they have another heel or face there. But Riddle still got the win here. I'm going to end the podcast like this. We had a fatal four-way to determine who would be the last member for the Raw Women's team. And this is terrible. I told you guys I was going to say something controversial, right? You guys saw my Twitter. It's controversial, all right. So, they announced the Raw Women's team. It would be made up of Shayna and Nia, the tag team champions. Nia sucks, by the way. Just your friendly reminder. There was a point where Angel Garza, looking like a simp backstage, was outpassing roses to Dana, Mandy, Shayna, and Nia. None would accept other than Nia, right? Disgusting. Ugh. Who would want to give Nia Jax a rose? Anyway, besides the point. We also had my bad, forgive me. We had Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke announced for the team. Okay, don't care. But you had a fatal four-way between these four women, Nikki Cross, Lacey Evans, Lana, and Peyton Royce. By the way, Nikki Cross, they gave her a new theme song tonight, and it is absolutely horrific. I know that he's changing theme songs, but this is horrific. Horrific. Man, oh man, Nikki's new theme is bad. It is garbage. Oh, it's like some country pop. I don't know what it is. Nikki Cross's original character was someone based off craziness, right? And going insane in NXT when she was with Sanity. And they brought her up to the main roster. They fucked her up. They put her with Alexa Bliss, even though they weren't a bad tag team. But they tried to make Nikki Cross too similar to Alexa Bliss, taking away all that made her special in NXT. And now tonight with this new theme song, man, I feel bad. But this match was terrible. Terrible! Man, I'm not going to talk about the match because the match was bad. Lana won the match, by the way, and then afterwards, she got put through a table for the 6th week in a row. I don't need to go rant all over again, remind you guys how bad it is for WWE to be doing this and how disrespectful it is. Because at this point, it's not entertaining, bros. It's not entertaining. It's embarrassing that you continue to do this each and every single week with Lana. I am not a Lana fan, and I'm not here to defend her. But I'm saying that at least have some respect for her. It's not doing anything for Nia. It does nothing for Lana. It does nothing for Raw. It does nothing for anybody. It just makes you look like a petty dumbass. Every single week you decide to have Lana get put through a table. Tom Phillips now mentions it. They're keeping track. 6 straight weeks they've had Nia put Lana through a table for no reason. But I'm going to say this, and this is how I'm going to end the pod. Right? The Raw Women's division is terrible. Asuka has not had any major rivalries since she faced Sasha and Bayley this summer. And we're getting Asuka versus Sasha again at Survivor Series, which will be a fantastic match, of course. But possibly match of the night. But right now, the Raw Women's division needs Naomi. It needs a star like Naomi, and I can't believe I'm saying this. This is a controversial thing. WWE needs Charlotte Flair. And for those who have been listening to this podcast for a long time, you guys know I have been very hard on Charlotte Flair because she has been booked terribly. You have booked her over all of these superstars with 12 title reigns, half of them that shouldn't have even happened. You have booked Charlotte over so many women, right? And had her take opportunities away from people that deserve the spotlight. But right now, with how bad the Raw Women's division is, Asuka has nobody to face. Asuka has had no worthy matches other than Zelina Vega. She has done nothing. And that's not her fault. That's creative fault. Asuka has not had one good rivalry in her reign other than Zelina Vega and Sasha Banks and Bayley. And the Zelina feud was only 2 weeks long. WWE needs Naomi and Charlotte back. They don't need Charlotte back to be Raw Women's Champion. I'm not saying that. They need Charlotte back just to add some firepower to the women's division. I don't want Charlotte coming back to become Raw Women's Champion. I'm not saying that. But I want to see Naomi versus Asuka. I think that's the feud you should have ending this year, entering 2021. All right? If you're not going to do Asuka versus Shayna Baszler, which I still can't believe we haven't gotten that yet. But you need Charlotte Flair back because she'll bring some star power. Because right now, this Raw Women's division is awful. Awful. Nia sucks. Lacey Evans sucks. Lana sucks. Nikki Cross, her identity has been ruined. And Peyton Royce isn't bad, but she's not anything special either. All right? This Raw Women's division needs Naomi and Charlotte more than ever. Because we know when Becky comes back and Ronda comes back, they're most likely going to be on SmackDown with Sasha, which should be great. Right? But that's my thoughts on that. Other than that, guys, that's going to do it for tonight's podcast. All right? Surprised I went as long as I did. But either way, guys, that's what I'm going to end the podcast with. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree with me in the comment section down below. Right? Thank you guys for joining me on the pod tonight. Raw was bad tonight. Like I said, not a good start to the Survivor Series build. I'm not that excited for Survivor Series other than Sasha Banks and Asuka and Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn, which was announced tonight. Let me know in the comment section what you guys thought. Also, leave a like on the video if you guys enjoyed. I know we have a lot of new subscribers, so definitely you guys make sure to leave a like so this video gets pushed into YouTube's algorithm so we can educate more people in the community. Thank you guys for the love and support. Follow me on social media. Hit the bell next to my name, Fitz TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. As always, guys, check out the Hell in a Cell review if you guys haven't already. All right. Thank you guys for everything once again. Love you guys so much. I'll see you guys later this week. We'll have a bonus episode of the podcast. You guys stay safe and healthy, guys. Man, oh man. I still can't believe I said that. I can't believe I said Charlotte needs to return, man. I can't believe it. Still, I'm not a big fan of Charlotte, but at least she would bring some kind of star power. She's not going to fix the women's division, but at least it would help it a little bit, if you guys understand what I mean. But other than that, guys, that's all I got for you guys today. Stay safe, guys. I'll see y'all later. Peace.